Hi, you guys. I hope that the transits and the eclipses and the retrogrades and things have been treating you well. I'm just here to give you guys an update on why I kind of had to take a break, and it's because I have been experiencing my own issues. So, what you guys will see is me. And for those of you who are already, subscribed to my channel and stuff, and you're wondering, why are you posting something about health on your spirituality channel? Well, there's a great reason for that. Part of my spiritual journey started with my health issues. So, yes, it absolutely has a place here. My spiritual journey really started with losing family members and, also having the health issues that I have. So, I want to talk today about part of the reason why I take frequent breaks. It's because I have a chronic skin condition, chronic skin inflammatory skin disease called hidradenitis suppurativa. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Well, the thing about HS is that it's a very debilitating disease. It's very painful. I recently came out of remission. I was in remission for 5 years. I'm still not sure what triggered my disease to come back and flare up the way it has been, but I was in a lot of pain for most of this year. For about 6 months, I was in constant chronic pain, and I thought that I could just ignore it and, do things slowly at a time. But no, I have had to basically start over with my diet, figuring out what I've been eating that has triggered my body because, again, I am very much, for those of you who know me, I'm pretty, I'm a pretty healthy person for the most part in terms of what I eat. I only drink water. If I do drink fruit juice, it's like real fruit juice. So it's not like I'm sitting around eating, I don't eat red meat and all of that stuff. And that's also something I'm going to talk about later on because I do plan to share more about my hidradenitis suppurativa. Now, why am I talking about this disease, my disease, on my channel? Well, as I was having flare-ups again a couple months back to now, fast forward to now, I had been doing, a bunch of research trying to find ways to help heal myself, trying to look for relief. And there were so many videos of it, but not enough at all at the same time, right? So it was like a bunch of us out here just trying to figure it out because there's no cure. There's no cure. There's not much information. The doctors can't tell you, or, if you know someone who suffers from HS, the doctors can't tell you why and how to fix things and what to do. But they, for the most part, the dermatologists have been helpful with information about inflammatory diseases. Now, a little bit about my history. I first started having the symptoms for HS around 11 years old. So with HS, you experience large lumps in places like your armpits, your groin area, your buttocks area, just different areas where you sweat and your skin rubs together, and the bumps could be small or they could be the size of a baseball, and it's extremely, 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 and I cannot stress this enough, debilitatingly painful. So whenever I'm having flare-ups, I can't sleep. It hurts to eat. I could have a fever. I could have sepsis. I've been hospitalized. Had so many surgeries. Like, I've developed different insecurities because of my skin. I've had to change my diet so many times because one day with this disease, because it's inflammatory, you have to avoid inflammatory foods. So, one day something, you could be eating it and you'll be just fine. And then tomorrow you have a flare up. And when our flare ups happen, they don't just go away, right? So we often have what they call tunnels. So we'll have like a giant bump somewhere on our body, and then it'll be a tunnel to another giant bump. So we'll have multiple bumps the size of baseballs, at a time on our body in different areas. And if you can imagine one, try to imagine like five or more. It's an extremely painful, and I cannot stress that enough, disease. So I do plan to talk more about my disease as I am working towards going back into remission. So yes, I'm still going to do tarot. Yes, I'm still going to, focus on everything spiritual, but I definitely believe health is spiritual too. And most people are not diagnosed properly with hidradenitis suppurativa until at least 7 years statistically. So most of us who are going through this disease and have gone through it did not get properly diagnosed until years later. So, this extremely painful disease that we're living with, and a lot of people have no idea what they have, what they're struggling with. And I do want to use my platform not just for tarot and spirituality, but also for people like me who are trying to figure it out, because again, there's not much medical information about it. And we recently had an HS Awareness Week, I want to say maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And yeah, we were definitely, looking for the information out there, for people out there. There's a group on Facebook that I recently joined that wasn't, there about about a decade ago, when I found out what I've been struggling with since I was a small child. All right. So, going back to why I'm doing it on this channel, alongside all of my spirituality stuff, is because, like I said, health is spiritual. So I do plan to share like recipes and things that I eat, because I want people with HS to find a safe space. I want people with HS to be able to go to a place and try different recipes, try different healing techniques, try different things that are going to potentially help them, because things that have helped some HS, I don't want to say victims, but people who deal with HS as alongside me, some of the things that helped them didn't help me. So I do want to make my platform more than just about tarot. And if you're okay with that, stay tuned and stay with me, because we are still going to do tarot, but I'm also going to talk about my journey with hidradenitis suppurativa. And for those of you who don't want to hear about anything personal in my life and you just want to hear about tarot, sorry, bye. I love you. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Have a great life, etc., etc. So my journey of figuring out that, or finding out that I have HS, started around 11 years old, when and TMI trigger, I started my menstrual cycle at 11 years old. And that's when I realized that I would get these large bumps around my body nearing the time when my period would start. And that's kind of when I first had an indication that it was also hormonal. I realized quickly that I was, in a lot of pain that nobody told me about. How you have the little sex ed classes and they tell you all the stuff that happens when your period starts and all of this stuff. And it was like, I don't remember this part. This has nothing to do with cramps. Like, this has nothing to do with headaches or any of the PMS stuff. But I I just I didn't know how to explain it to anybody. So when I finally told my mom what I was dealing with, I was around 13 or 14 years old, because she would always notice that around my period, I would be limping, I would be in pain, and then this pain would last for weeks after my period. So since I was about 11 years old, I would only have about a week of normalcy where, I would just feel fine. But then after that, I was in constant pain. I couldn't sit down, I couldn't lay down, I couldn't, go to sleep without having hot and warm compresses. I was slathering my body with antibiotic ointment and stuff because my large bumps would drain. And the neosporin and stuff from around age 12 or 13 was all I knew that would be helpful for me at the time. My mom she pulled me to the side in the bathroom, and I told her, I was like, I'm in a lot of pain. I have this giant bump, and I don't understand. It comes every single month, one or two or three of them. And she was completely bewildered. And I thought that it was an STD because of where it was at the time. Okay. Mind you, complete virgin. So it's like, I didn't know anything about anything regarding that at the time. So fast forward, my mom's taking me to the doctor, and the doctors made it worse. Like, not only did they lance it every month, like they would just cut me open, pump me up with antibiotics, and send me home, but they would completely embarrass me. Like I remember the doctors and the nurses just jabbing this extremely painful open wound with a Q-tip and saying, oh, this looks like herpes, or it looks like, such and such. And that's, first of all, that's not what it looks like at all. If you have HS or you know someone with HS, you know that that's not what it looks like. But at me being 14 or 15, I felt awful. And I didn't talk about my disease because, one, I didn't know what it was. And two, the way the doctors made me feel when I would go to the doctors to get my bumps lanced, because if I didn't get them lanced, then I couldn't walk to school. I couldn't, sit down in class. I couldn't really do anything that required movement because I was in that much pain. And this continued until I was around 19 years old. And my mom was like, okay, let's skip the doctor part and see if we can try to get them to burst at home. Let's see if we can try to, do the healing process and stuff without you having to go and get packed and cut open and, just consistently drugged up and taking a bunch of antibiotics that really didn't work for me anymore. So my mom would just run me Epsom salt baths and make me warm compresses. And I noticed that after about 2 or 3 days, the bumps would burst, or they would, get smaller and disappear. Well, my mom was like, I've just noticed that it seems like it's hormonal for you. So let's go and see an endocrinologist and a dermatologist. Well, I found out that I had PCOS, which is why I said some people have underlying things and other people don't. So the PCOS was my underlying thing that triggered my sweat glands to not work properly. It also triggered, monthly bumps. And I'm not talking about like regular size ant bite bumps, not even mosquito bite bumps. Like literally, if you've ever, in the Black community, they call it a rising. In medical community, it's called a boil. Well, they're like literally golf ball sized boils all over in multiple areas of my body just for no reason. At least at that age, that's what it seemed like. It was just for no reason. And I went to the dermatologist, and she told me I was around 20 or 21, that I had hidradenitis suppurativa. And it felt really good to be told what I have, but it also didn't feel good because she immediately also told me there's no cure for this. And she was like, you just need to eliminate everything in your diet, everything that you're eating, start from scratch. She was like, don't eat any of that, and then just eat clean fruits and vegetables. So for a long time, that's all I did. I just ate clean fruits and vegetables, just drank water. So a lot of people know me as a health head and like a health nut, but it's not because I don't like pizza, because I would literally die for pizza. Like, I would literally, if Jesus came back and said, LaPria, stop eating pizza, save the world, I'll be like, the world just gonna burn anyway because I'm gonna eat pizza. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she was like, you need to start over completely, reintroduce, and there's an inflammatory, anti-inflammatory diet where, and I forget what it's called. It's where you start over completely and reintroduce food slowly into your body and see what it is that you're allergic to. So, for the most part, fried foods are inflammatory. Extra sugar is inflammatory. Things with brewer's yeast is also inflammatory. So it was like whatever I was eating, I couldn't eat it anymore. I had to start over. I had to slowly reintroduce things into my system, which is what I'm doing right now. That is how I found out what my triggers were back then, but that was a decade ago. So here I am at 30, now reintroducing my body to, everything again, because now, I'm in a different body. I'm in a different mindset. I'm 30 years old now. I'm not 20. My body doesn't react the same anymore. So now I'm no longer in remission. I had finally gotten to a place where I was in remission and I didn't have a bump. I didn't have a lump. I was completely fine. I was happy. I was comfortable for almost 6 years. Well, here we are today, having to redo everything. And I plan to share that journey with you all who have HS or know somebody with HS. And my hope is that you can share your journey with me. We could do this together, because the more information that we are open and honest about, the more medical, assistance, the more medical research we can have, the more medical support we can get, and familial support as well, because this is actually a deadly disease. And it's because if we ignore our bumps and we don't get them, adequate health care and stuff like that, we can get sepsis. We can have fevers that will kill us. It's a lot that goes with it. So I am using my platform for a little bit more than love tarot readings right now, and I hope that you will support me in that. And if not, I love you all so much. I do plan to have the July readings up very, very soon. Thank you all for your support. I am going to be making videos for people with HS, and I am going to be making videos for those of us who are dealing with HS and we want to go into remission, and I'm going to be helping people do that. That is something that is very important to me, especially as I am finishing my psych degree, and I know how important mental health is, and I know how important it is for people to feel good about themselves and to feel healthy. And thank y'all so much for still being here, for those of you who are. Again, if this is the end of the road for you and you don't want to see anything else that's not tarot, thank you for your time. I love you. Have a great life. Thank you for allowing me on your journey. For those of you who do choose to still stay, I'm still going to do tarot readings and all of that stuff. So thank y'all for being beautiful, and I will see you for your July readings very soon. For those of you who are joining my channel for Hidradenitis suppurativa talk, stay tuned. I am currently working on a cleanse. My friend is an herbalist and she, has made me all types of teas and things. And I'm just, documenting my responses and my experiences as I am currently flaring up and stuff, and hopefully I can help you guys with some ways to help yourselves and to help other people in our HS community. I love you all, and I will see you next time.